Hi, friends. In colonial America, one of the most valuable things we had was fabric. Fabric, if you were wealthy, could be imported from England, but not during the Revolution. It is well known that George Washington was very proud of saying his wife looked beautiful in her homespun, which meant she was wearing clothing produced from fabric that was made on their plantation, Mount Vernon. Now, in the North, most of our clothes were made out of wool. Most people kept sheep, not only for wool, but also for meat. Now, there are many different breeds of sheep, just like there are many different breeds of dog, for example, and some sheep are better for their wool, and some are better for their meat. Now, sheep are shorn or given a haircut in the spring. This does not hurt the sheep. It's just giving them a haircut and making them more comfortable for the summer. The wool would be filthy when it came off the sheep, and the first thing was to wash it. But of course, you had to make your soap first. After you made your soap, you would wash the fleece that came off the sheep and put it out in the sun to dry. And then you would put the sheep away until the winter. In the summertime, we were too busy growing, harvesting, and preserving enough food to get us through the winter. But in the winter, when it was cold out and we couldn't be outside, the whole family would sit around the fire and process the wool. Children as young as 3 years old would be involved in this process. The first part of getting your wool ready is to pick the wool. So here are some pieces of fleece that came right off a sheep. You can see the little curls. And you can also see, for example, right there, that there is grass from the field and other things in the wool that you wouldn't really want in a sweater or a pair of socks because they would be poking at you. Here's a little piece of grass. So children as young as 3 would be put to work picking wool. And in order to do that, you're just going to stretch the wool between your fingers and then pull in the opposite direction. And when you do that, it's kind of like eating cotton candy. When you do that, as you pull it, all those little pieces of debris should fall out of the wool. And you get this nice cloudy piece. Now, I'm sorry you can't smell this because sheep naturally have in their skin an oil called lanolin. It has a very distinct smell, and it also is one of the best restorative oils for human skin. So working with this oily, lanolin-rich fleece would be a way for colonial people to get their hands softer. Here's another piece. And again, I am going to gently pull and try to get all the debris out of this wool that I have. Now, this little pile here of wool is maybe 1 year's worth of sheep fleece. So you can imagine if you shore 20 sheep, you would have baskets and baskets and baskets of this wool to clean during the winter. And that would only be the first step.